Hello everyone and welcome to this podcast presented to you by Kamal. Today we'll be discussing introverts, the kinds of introverts, their interaction with their environments, and if they can become great leaders. So maybe you're an introvert but still you don't know which type of introverts you belong to because there are four types of them. And if you want to know which type is yours, then you should better stay with me and listen to this podcast. For those who doesn't know what an introvert is, well, an introvert is often thought of as a quiet, reserved, and thoughtful individual. They don't seek out special attention or social engagements, as these events can leave introverts feeling exhausted and drained. And introverts are the opposite of extroverts, who are often described as the life of the party. Their outgoing, vibrant nature draws people to them, and they have a hard time turning away the attention. So now we know the difference between introverts and extroverts. There are still other people who mix between an introvert and a shy person. So let's hear that difference from what Susan Cayenne have said in one of TED conferences entitled The Power of Introverts.
Now, to see the bias clearly, you need to understand what introversion is. And it's different from being shy. Shyness is about fear of social judgment. Introversion is more about how do you respond to stimulation, including social stimulation. So extroverts really crave large amounts of stimulation, whereas introverts feel at their most alive and they're most switched on and they're most capable when they're in quieter, more low-key environments.
Shy people fear the judgments of others. Therefore, shyness isn't included only on introverts. You may find an extrovert who craves social time but lacks the skills to socialize more effectively, and concerning their reaction to stimuli, according to studies by psychologist Hans Eysenck, introverts require less stimulation from the world in order to be awake and alert than extroverts do. This means introverts are more easily overstimulated. The flip side of introvert sensitivity to dopamine is that they need less of it to feel happy. Dopamine is a type of neurotransmitter which is a chemical substance which is released at the end of a nerve fiber by the arrival of a nerve impulse. Your body makes dopamine and your nervous system uses it to send messages between nerve cells. It plays a role in how we feel pleasure. It's big parts of the unique human ability to think and plan. So essentially, an introvert brain functions differently than an extrovert brain. Now that we discussed introverts and how they feel, let's get through the types of introverts. According to research by Jonathan Cheek, a psychology professor in Wellesley College, there are four types of introverts. First, social introverts. They are often judged as shy and timid in social settings, but you already know that there's a difference between being introvert and being shy. So that's not always the truth. If you happen to be a social introvert, it just means that you prefer to be alone, doing something at home, or only go out with your select few of best buddies rather than partying with a large crowd of people. Second, thinking introverts. As a thinking introvert, you don't avert social situations and don't mind the presence of other people. You're an introvert in the sense that you have a rich inner life, always pensive and introspective, especially after having read a book or watched a movie, for example. The third type is anxious introverts. They are unlike social introverts. They may seek out solitude because they feel awkward or self-conscious around other people because they are not very confident in their own social skills. But often their anxiety doesn't fade when they are all alone. This kind of introversion is defined as a tendency to ruminate. When a person has a high tendency to ruminate, it means he often gets stuck on a thought and is unable to switch attention to a different thought, or thinks about the things that might or could or already have gone wrong. The last type I'm going to mention is the restrained introverts. They prefer to think before they speak or react. They are unlikely to feel energized the moment they wake up, and they tend to shy away from spontaneous situations and are very careful when making decisions. There is no right combination of introversion and extroversion. Some introverts prefer rather introverts for intimate partners. They like the coziness of shutting out the world together. They don't like small talks, and that's why they usually try to avoid attending parties and social gatherings. But instead, they like talking about big stuff, the biggest dreams, life lessons that someone's learned the hard way, creative endeavors, and etc. The most thing you notice when you're talking to an introvert in social media is that they rarely send vocal messages. They prefer to write rather than talk. But there are exceptions for this, of course, especially when you're a close friend. They feel comfortable with close friends. There's a lot of evidence out there that shows introverted people are more intelligent on average. For example, a study done by the Gifted Development Center showed that 60% of gifted children are introverts. Studies also show that introverts are more verbally intelligent than extroverts. Their working memory may have greater capacity, perhaps giving them a stronger ability to juggle several tasks at once. It's important to know that there are a number of reasons introverts can actually make very strong leaders, in some cases even stronger, because introverted leaders are very good listeners and take time to think, and they can focus on the needs of their team members without being sidetracked by other tasks or demands. But they often don't think they will enjoy leadership roles and are less likely to go for the top job. They may be worried and distressed in leadership situations. Therefore, some of them prefer independence rather than followership or leadership. Well, this is the end of this podcast. I just want to tell you that if you are an introvert, don't put too much pressure on yourself at a party to make others happy. Take some time alone to recharge your energy. If you are a restrained introvert, give yourself additional time in the morning so that you have enough time to get ready and not get crashed by the activities that are waiting you. And finally, we as introverts should remember that in the end, things will be alright.